that this convocation is being streamed live on the internet in a way that forces users to run Windows Media Player if they are going to watch it. I hope that now that you know how malicious that program is, if you are watching, I hope you will turn it off now and erase it from your computer and erase Windows from your computer. All computers must be defenestrated, meaning either throw Windows out of the computer or throw the computer out the window. Install a free operating system such as GNU plus Linux in your computer for freedom's sake. But really, of course, we need to correct a social problem at the origin. This university should not be streaming in Windows Media Player format. It should be streaming in OGG Theora format, a free, unpatented format that everyone is free to implement. This is not just a practical choice. When I found out about this, which was last night or this morning, I can't remember which anymore, I didn't get enough sleep. The message said, we didn't choose this because we intentionally want to support Microsoft, we just chose what was practically most convenient. Well, that's exactly the way you shouldn't make decisions with these ethical implications. Of course, I'm sure they didn't know, but now they do. In the future, do it the right way. But that's not the only way I suspect that non-free software is used in this university. Many schools teach their students to use proprietary non-free software, and that is opposed to the spirit of education, because proprietary software is secret knowledge withheld from humanity. It is exactly what schools should not tolerate. And proprietary software imposes dependency on its users. Why else would many proprietary software developers donate gratis copies of their non-free software to schools? It's because they want the schools to get their students addicted, to make them dependent on this product by teaching them to use it. And then after they graduate with this dependency, the same developer is not going to offer them gratis copies. And when those students go to work for companies, the developer is not going to offer those companies gratis copies. The idea is the school directs its students down the path of dependence, and they pull the rest of society with them. Permanent dependence, the developer hopes it will be. But schools must not fall for this trick. They must not teach their students dependence, because schools have a social mission, and that is to educate the next generation as good citizens of a strong, capable, independent, cooperating, and free society. And that means teaching free software only. This university must adopt the goal and plan to move entirely to free software. It will take years to do this, I'm sure, but that's what it must do. It must take a sizable step each year so that in a finite number of years the job will be completed, because proprietary software is the enemy of the spirit of education. Another reason is to give those who have the talent for programming the opportunity to perfect their skill. The way you do that is by reading lots of code and writing lots of code. And you could only do that with free software. And how do you begin to learn to write the code for large programs? Academic exercise programs, small programs, they don't give you the chance. You must write small changes to real large programs that people use, which means they have to be free software. But there is an even deeper reason, and that is for moral education, education in citizenship. Because schools must teach the spirit of goodwill and the habit of helping your neighbor. A school is a place where we pass on knowledge to each other. So every class in every school, from kindergarten through university, must have this rule. Students, if you bring software to class, you may not keep it for yourself. You must share it with the rest of the class, and you must make the source code, the plans, the explanation of the program available to the class. This rule must be followed by the students and by the teacher to set a good example for the students to follow. There is no room for proprietary software in a school. But nowadays, these issues are starting to apply to other kinds of things, not just software. Digital technology is a marvelous method for sharing information and for working with information, and we must be free to do so. All the works that people publish that serve practical functional purposes that you use to do a job in your life, that is, must be free. And this includes educational and reference materials. The educational works developed by this university or any other school, they must be made free. They must be released under a suitable free license that respects the same four freedoms, so that society can fully make use of them, which includes adapting them. And the same conclusion applies to recipes, which are also practical functional works. And recipes are a very good analogy to help people understand, if they don't program but they do cook, why software must be free. Imagine if the government said to you, starting tomorrow, if you copy or change a recipe, we will call you a pirate, and we will cut off your internet access or put you in prison or whatever nasty thing they propose to do as part of their evil war on sharing. I still believe that sharing is something that society and social institutions should encourage, but the government of Canada disagrees. You see, nowadays, even for works that are not functional, such as the recordings of my speeches and art and entertainment, music, it's very useful to be able to share them, so sharing must be legal. Sharing must be encouraged, but the government of Canada, perhaps more concerned with some businesses that profit by not letting people share than with its own citizens, keeps on proposing new laws to try to stop people from sharing, and keeps on insulting people who help their neighbors by calling them pirates. Recently, there was a controversy about whether Canada really is the piracy capital of some part of the world. Well, there's a lake here, so there might conceivably be some pirates on it, but I doubt it. But this controversy was just a distraction from the real question, which is, should you call people pirates and compare them to shipborne robbers because they share with their neighbors? The controversy over this little detail took for granted the important controversial stance